Hello, I'm Patricia Schechter, current president of the Western Association of Women Historians, and it's my pleasure to send greetings to Nupur Chaudhuri and to WAWH colleagues near and far in this year of 2022. Nupur, we have made this little video for you to cheer you and encourage you as you recover and gain your strength after your current health challenge. We also put together this video to celebrate and share your many accomplishments as a scholar and leader of women. So my job is to say a few words of introduction here to set the stage for the wonderful tributes to follow in this video. Nupur Chaudhuri, you have served on the faculty of Texas Southern University for quite a few years now, and you are currently professor of history there. You earned your bachelor's degree at the University of Calcutta, a master's at Smith College, and a second master's and then PhD at Kansas State University in 1974. Nupur, I was pleased to learn that you actually started your career in French history. You gave your earliest scholarly paper at a meeting of the Western Society for French History in 1975, a paper that was later anthologized in a collection called Women in the Western Tradition, edited by Frances Richardson Keller, a very important name in WAWH history as well. You also did a little U.S. history, notably work on the African American community in Manhattan, Kansas in the late 19th and early 20th century. This piece came out with the Kansas History Journal and later anthologized by Darlene Clark Hine and her colleagues in the anthology We Specialize in the Holy and Possible. You are best known, of course, for your work on women and colonialism, and you gave one of your first presentations on British women and imperialism in India at the WAWH in 1979, and you've presented regularly throughout the years at our meeting and many other professional gatherings on that topic. By the mid-1990s, you had turned your attention pretty much full-time as a scholar to colonialism in India, particularly relations among women. And you'll be reminded, and viewers will be informed by this presentation, the rest of your career is literally history. Your scholarship has truly made a significant intellectual space for encompassing and race-critical investigations of gender and colonialism, the reverberations of which are felt in nearly every corner of the practice of women's history today. Your anthology, Nation, Empire, and Colony, is a book I read with particular care for my own work, and I have taught the collection Contesting the Archives to very appreciative students at Portland State University for quite a few years now. Your big vision about women's history was also evident in your advocacy alongside the National Women's History Project in the 1980s to have the U.S. Congress recognize March as Women's History Month. Turning to WAWH, your service has been simply outstanding. You chaired the Ridge Prize in the mid-1980s. You served as president 2005 to 2007. And the endowment in 2012 of the Gita Chaudhuri Prize, an award that recognizes the best monograph about the history of women in rural environments, marks a very special highlight of your many contributions to WAWH. What I want to sound out by way of closing in this moment, Nupur, is that your presence with a capital P in the profession and in this organization in particular are very, very special. And by presence, I mean your constancy, your enthusiasm, your commitment, and your deep belief in the transformative power of what we do as scholars. You are always truly present in WAWH in the many ways that we care for each other, encourage each other, and show up for one another. Your example has been a bright and guiding star for me in WAWH, and I know for others in the past, and I know for others in the future to come. In recognition, therefore, of all you have done for and meant to this organization, officially and unofficially, I am delighted to confer upon you the first ever Western Association of Women Historians Lifetime Service Award, which will be named in your honor going forward. Thank you, Nupur. Congratulations and speedy recovery on your way back to health and back to your students and colleagues who love you. Enjoy the tributes that follow.
Hi, Nupur. I'm so pleased that you're out of the ICU and on the mend, even if it's a long haul mend. I remember how happy I was to meet you when we met in the mid-70s. You had come in 1963 to the U.S. for college, and I had gone to Delhi University in 1966 and 67. You were a connection for me to that part of my life, after I decided to study African history instead of South Asia. We met through what's now called the Western Association of Women Historians and launched what really became a decades-long effort to organize panels on women in Africa, Asia, Latin America, Middle East at various conferences. We did this for WAWH itself, for the American Historical Association, for the Berks, and for the National Women's Studies Association as well. Over the years, you recall, we edited a volume on gender and empire called Complicity and Resistance. And then we ended up together on the board of the National Collaborative for Women's History Sites to get women's history into public history locations. It was also great to see you over the years when you would come to Chicago to visit your brother. So again, hang in there, Nupur and Sam. I'm sending lots of love. Bye.
I first got to know Nupur through our work together in the WAWH and the CCWH maybe 25 years ago. Every organization needs somebody with Nupur's creativity and persistence. Not only can she identify the jobs that need doing and the right people to accomplish them, but she has the rare ability to persuade those very busy people to actually take on one more responsibility. Her fundraising abilities are phenomenal. In her 2 years as WAWH president, she raised enough money to endow nearly all our prizes and to put us on a sound financial footing for years to come. But what I love most about Nupur are her generosity, her humor, and her fierce loyalty to her family, to the organizations she believes in, to her students, to the discipline of history, and to us, her friends.
I'm honored to be able to say a few words of encouragement to you, Nupur, my colleague, my mentor, my friend, as you continue your determined path toward recovery. As a colleague, you've been a stalwart in every important organization of historians, especially women historians. You have devoted many years to service as a president or officer of numerous organizations and have always been the go-to person for fundraising. As I always have said, no one can turn down a request from Nupur. You have also been instrumental in establishing prizes for young scholars. For your decades of service as a wonderful colleague, you shared with Eileen Boris the first annual Rachel Fuchs Memorial Award for Excellence in Mentorship and Service to Women and LGBTQ in the profession. You have been a great colleague in another way, as a scholar, as a pioneer in imperialism studies, intersecting those studies with gender and race, and helping to create a path for intersectional transnational scholarship. I look forward to seeing more of that kind of scholarship. As one of my mentors, you and a few cohorts ambushed me at a WAWH meeting a decade ago to ask me to consider being co-president of CCWH, which was my entry into leadership of a national organization of women historians. And as my friend Nupur, I wish you a successful recovery. We have been to many conferences around the world, sharing moments of joy and empowerment. I eagerly await the day we can do that again. Get well soon.
Nupra, thank you so much for all of your hard work on behalf of the Western Association of Women's Historians. We appreciate you, we miss you, and we look forward to seeing you next year. Much love.
Nupur, it's been a long journey and a terrific one, and I hope we have much time to further reflect beyond the 50th anniversary of CCWH. It was such an adventure, first meeting you in the 1970s. It was you that got me into the women's professional organizations. And then when we had this opportunity to do Voices of Women's Historians, what a journey. And I particularly remember how frightening it was sitting in that lift going over the rainforests in Australia and going to the Great Barrier Reef and eating crocodile. Wow, it was really something. And we've been on many journeys together, and I have to blame you for my becoming president of the International Federation for Research for Women's History, because it was you that opened the world and made it wider for us all. Bless you, Nupur.
Hi, Nupur. Jessica Weiss here. And I just wanted to say to you that I wish you well. And I have great faith in your powers, be they healing or otherwise. And my Nupur WAWH memory is that when the Women's Studies Association met in Oakland, you made sure to invite me down for lunch in downtown Oakland. And then we had what I consider the quintessential Nupur conversation, where we discussed how I might contribute more to what WAWH, the Western Association of Women Historians. And I think we can see that following that conversation, I was much more involved in WAWH. Thank you so much for all you've done for women historians, for the organization, for budding and accomplished scholars, and for your own scholarship, and for your friendship.
Hi, I'm Carol Gold, University of Alaska Fairbanks. I first met Nupur in 1975 at a conference of the Women Historians of the Midwest in St. Paul, Minnesota. We sat outside on the lawn and ate lunch, talked about life, talked about negotiating conferences, talked about being a woman historian. There were not very many of us at the time. Nupur, when she tells the story, says that I mentored her, but that's Nupur, quick to give people credit, quick to acknowledge what they do, what they've done. Nupur creates a web that holds us all together. She knows who's where, who's doing what, who's going to work with whom. She pulls on the threads, pulls us together, keeps us honest, keeps us inclusive. By the way, also is good at raising money. Nupur, we miss you.
Hello, Nupur. So, since you are my roommate of choice and you're used to seeing me in this setting, I thought I'm just going to send you my very, very best wishes and all my love from the setting where you used to see me. So all together, get well, Nupur. Ciao.